Hi everybody, and welcome to our series of lessons on word pairs that are commonly confused and misused. In this video lesson, we will cover 20 pairs of words that are often used wrongly in English, and you would realize that much of the confusion arises because the words in the pair sound the same when pronounced or have similar spellings. So just being aware of such word pairs can easily help you avoid such mistakes. Okay, just to introduce this topic, here is a small exercise in which you need to pick the word out of the highlighted pair which best suits the context of this sentence. As you can see for some of the word pairs above, such as flares versus flares or principle versus principle, the two words are homophones or similar sounding. For other word pairs such as amoral versus immoral, the words involved have similar spellings. So that is where the scope for confusion lies. And not to worry, I'll discuss the answers for this quiz at the end of this lesson. So let us begin with a systematic study of such confusable word pairs. The very first pair we are going to discuss is betray versus belie. This pair is a favorite of question setters in exams. The word betray has two different meanings, the first of which is to expose one's country, a group, or a person to danger by treacherously giving information to an enemy. For instance, someone can betray his or her employer by selling their secrets to competitors. This is the more common meaning of betray. The second meaning in which this word is used is to unintentionally reveal or be evidence of a situation. For instance, have you heard the story of Pinocchio? Pinocchio's elongated nose, whenever he lied, betrayed his untruthfulness. The moment his nose got elongated, it used to reveal the fact that Pinocchio had been lying. It is this second meaning of betray because of which it is often confused with belie. Take for instance this sentence. Her youthful face belied her age. It is clear from this sentence that her face, because it looks so young, hides her true age. And that's the hint for you. While betray means to reveal a true situation, belie means to hide a true situation. According to Oxford Dictionary, belie means to give a false impression of something or to contradict something. One example sentence that you can use to memorize the meanings of both words is, the smile on her face made it seem as if she was quite happy and belied or hid her actual feeling of grief inside. But the small tear that occasionally trickled down her cheek betrayed, or we can say revealed, her true feelings. Our second pair is Grizzly versus Grizzly. Both words have exactly same pronunciation, but their meanings differ. The first Grizzly is used as an adjective to describe something that causes horror or disgust, like probably a grisly scene from a horror movie. The second Grizzly refers to an animal of a large race of the brown bear native to North America. This word can be used as a noun as well as adjective. You would mostly hear the term in the phrase a grizzly bear, in which case it is used as an adjective. An example sentence that clarifies the meanings of both words is, the old hunter once narrated a grisly tale of being mauled by a grizzly bear. The third pair we are going to discuss is censure versus censor. The first word censure means to express several disapproval, especially in a formal statement. For instance, a boss may censure his subordinate for repeatedly coming late to office. The word is stronger than just scolding or rebuking someone because censure is used in a formal context. The second word, censor, on the other hand, is easy to learn, and you would have seen or read about it earlier in terms like censor board. What's the function of a censor board? To censor or cut down on objectionable scenes from movies, etc. So that's the meaning. Censor means to delete objectionable material or judge. An example sentence for both words is, the magazine editor censured, which means officially reprimanded or scolded, the journalist, and censored, which means deleted objectionable portions from the sensational story of the starlet, saying that the content was both objectionable and inappropriate for readers. Next word pair is complacent versus complaisant. These words have almost similar spelling, the only difference being plaque in complacent and place in complaisant. And both words, in fact, share their origins because both the word roots plaque and place mean to please. The trick to learning these words is to learn them through the shared connection of please. A complacent person is someone who is too pleased with one's current state. Like you can see a complacent employee in this picture who is resting in his workspace, not bothered about work at all. The word complacent describes someone who shows smug or uncritical satisfaction with oneself or one's achievements. On the other hand, a complacent person is one who is too eager to please others or to accept what they do or say without protest. A sentence that brings out this difference in meanings is, the waiter was normally quite complacent and laid back, especially when there was no supervisor around. The only exception were cases when he perceived the customers to be big tippers. In such instances, he was very complacent, which means too eager to please them, and went out of his way to attend to them. Our fifth pair is again a tricky one. The words turgid versus turbid are commonly confused. The first challenge is to memorize their meanings. To put it simply, the one word meaning for turgid is swollen, both literally and figuratively. One may physically suffer from a turgid or swollen limb, like turgid hands or feet, turgid stomach, turgid eyelids, etc. So, for instance, I can say that after walking for miles, when I took off my shoes, I found that my feet were turgid, which means swollen from walking. But we can also extend the use of turgid to someone's speech, which appears to be swollen or unnecessarily lofty and bombastic in style, one that uses complex words, ideas, or prose. For example, Ria's turgid, overblown prose won over her English teacher and fetched her full marks. Turbid, on the other hand, is an easier word whose closest synonym is muddy. When we fill muddy water in a glass and stir it with a spoon, it is turbid and we can't clearly see through it. In the second picture, you can see that the water in the glass is chocolate brown in color and turbid, just like the color of rivers in the rainy season. And though the word is mostly used to describe liquids, it can also be used to describe someone's writing that is unclear and confusing. Easy to memorize because if something is muddy, you won't be able to clearly see through it or understand it. So if your teacher says that your English essay is turbid, that means the meaning is not clear and you need to rework it. Another example, the film was so turbid, we could not understand the storyline or its characters. Next pair is also an important one, faint versus faint. These words are homophones, meaning they are pronounced in exactly the same way. And there is a difference of only one letter between these words, E in the first one and A in the second one. Feint, F-E-I-N-T, means a deceptive or distracting movement, especially during a fight, such as a boxing or fencing match. In a match or a duel, when a player pretends to do one action just to deceive his opponent and in reality ends up doing some other movement, it's called a feint. The second word is used in multiple meanings. As an adjective, it can describe a sight, smell or sound which is barely perceptible. Like, in the room, I could sense a faint smell of lemongrass perfume. Faint can also be used as a verb to mean that someone is feeling weak and dizzy and is close to losing consciousness. Now let's take an interesting scenario of a boxing match to see how these words are used in a sentence. Having taken several blows already, the boxer was about to faint or lose consciousness. His vision was getting blurred and in his head he could hear a faint murmur of voices, which means the voices were barely audible. As a final move, his opponent feinted or pretended to deal a blow with his left and then swung a punch with his right, knocking him out. Our seventh pair are the words childish and childlike. The adjectives childish and childlike both refer to the characteristics of a child, but generally not to the same characteristics. While childlike usually has positive connotations and describes the good qualities of a child, such as being trusting or innocent, the other word, childish, usually has negative connotations and refers to behavior inappropriate for a child. Put it another way, childish describes someone who is being silly or immature. As an example, if you watched Mr. Bean on television, while this character is a favorite of some people, and people including me enjoy watching his cartoons and movies, but frankly, a mid-aged man behaving like a child, carrying his teddy bear wherever he goes, and making strange faces is childish, not childlike. Next pair is amoral versus immoral. We all study moral science as a subject in school, and as you would have guessed, both these words are related to morals or the sense of right and wrong. The prefix a in amoral and the prefix im in immoral are both known to form opposites. So one might guess that amoral and immoral both mean not moral. But there is a catch here. The word amoral describes a person who is not bothered at all about what is right or wrong. A person who is amoral is totally unconcerned about what is right and wrong, and sometimes he or she lacks a moral sense altogether. Being amoral, I would say, is bad, but being immoral is even worse. The word immoral describes someone who is certainly doing bad actions according to societal standards. That is to say, he is disposed to act contrary to accepted morals, like killing someone, robbing someone, raping someone are examples of immoral actions. One example that clarifies the meanings of both words is, if a goon robs someone at gunpoint, it is immoral behavior. The same goon, when caught red-handed, may hire an amoral lawyer, meaning a lawyer who just cares about his fees and is not bothered about morality, to fight his case. Next, we have the pair empathy versus sympathy. These words are connected by a Greek root pathos, which means feeling or suffering. And indeed, both words are related to how one feels. Empathy is made up of prefix em meaning in. So the word empathy literally means feeling in. Empathy is when you put yourself in the shoes of the other person to find out and experience what that person is feeling. It is the intellectual identification of other person's thoughts. As an example, she had a lot of empathy for her neighbor who had lost her mother to cancer. She knew what it was like to lose a parent too. Sympathy, on the other hand, goes one step further. The prefix sim means together. So sympathy literally means feeling together. In sympathy, not only do you identify with the thoughts of the other person, but also you feel pity and sorrow for that person's misfortune. You want to care for that person. When you sympathize with the other person, you, as I said, feel together. An example to illustrate these words would be, in most cases, what a doctor feels for his or her patients is empathy, an ability to relate to what that other person is going through, while real sympathy for a patient is felt only by his or her near and dear ones. Next two words are again homophones, FLAIR versus FLAIR. The first word is used exclusively as a noun to denote someone's talent or a quality or style that distinguishes that person from others. The word flair is often used in the idiomatic expression to have a flair for something, like one may have a flair for playing guitar or for cracking jokes, etc. The second word flare means a sudden burst of bright flame or light, like the one in a firecracker. Flare is also used in the expression a flare up, which means a sudden outburst of emotions or problems. For instance, troubles, tempers, violence, and nostrils can flare up. In a second meaning, flare also means a gradual widening of something, like a skirt or any other garment. One example sentence that will help you tell one word from the other is, he wore a flared kurta, a custom-tailored one, for the festive occasion, and he wore it with a casual flair, or we can say a distinctive style. Perhaps because of his dress, he took extra caution while lighting firecrackers. He lit the flare or sudden burst of flame of flower pots, sparklers and rockets from a safe distance. We are halfway through and our next pair is principle versus principle. These words are also homophones like the previous pair, meaning they are pronounced alike. While the first principle that ends with an ul signals something or someone that is very important and is the first in order of importance. Like I can say that the principal or most important function of a school is to educate kids and to inculcate good habits in them. The word principal can also denote the most important or senior person in an organization such as a school. The other principle, the one that ends in LE, means a fundamental rule or belief, a code of conduct. Like I can say that everybody has a certain set of rules and principles that he or she abides by. One sentence to make this difference clear would be, the school principal said today that the principal or most important problem with today's youth is their lack of moral principles. Next pair is militate versus mitigate. These are very important words for someone who wants to build a sound vocabulary. First of all, both are verbs. The word militate is easy to remember because it shares its roots with military. According to Oxford Dictionary, militate is used when a fact or circumstance is a powerful or conclusive factor in preventing something. It is often used with the preposition against. To militate against is to fight against something in order to prevent it from happening. For instance, I can say, his lack of education and casual attitude militated against his getting early promotions. Mitigate, on the other hand, means to make something bad less severe, serious, or painful. Like one may mitigate a risk or a problem and make it less severe. Let's look at one sentence that brings out the difference in meanings of these words. Though the ruling party is doing everything to mitigate various risks in the lead up to elections, it looks like strong public resentment due to its policies will militate against its coming back to power. Our 13th pair is titillate versus titivate. Though the words are not that common, one might simply confuse these words for lack of a good vocabulary. Both are verbs. Titillate means to arouse someone to interest or mild excitement, especially through sexually suggestive images or words. The other word, titivate, means to make minor enhancements, to make oneself look smart. A sentence that exemplifies both words is, she wore a backless gown, touched up her face, and titivated or touched up her hair so that she could titillate or arouse the interest of her prospective date. Fourteenth pair is PEDDLE versus PEDDLE. The first word with a single D means a foot-operated lever. You might also pedal a bike, in which case you are actually pushing the pedal in circular motion with your feet to make the bike move forward. On the other hand, the word pedal with a double D means to sell goods by going from place to place. An example sentence for both words is, he pedaled his cart across the town, peddling ice creams to small kids and to grown-ups too. By the way, one should not confuse these two words with the word petal, which means the colored parts of a flower head. Our 15th pair is prodigious versus prodigal. These words have totally different meanings and they are confused just because they have similar spellings. The word prodigious shares its roots with the word prodigy, which denotes something that is amazing or unusual, quite out of the ordinary, probably like a young person with exceptional qualities or abilities. A child who can solve Rubik's Cube in seconds, for instance, or can explain the theory of relativity, can be rightly called a prodigy. He is quite extraordinary after all. Similarly, prodigious means extraordinary or enormous. For instance, solving that complex mathematical problem was a prodigious or enormous task even for accomplished professors, but not for this child prodigy who did it in a few minutes. Prodigal, on the other hand, describes a person who spends money or uses resources freely and recklessly and is wastefully extravagant. For example, he wasted away all his inheritance due to his prodigal habits. The next word pair is wreath versus wreathe. These words mean the same except for the fact that the first word that ends with th is used as a noun and the second word that ends with an e is used as a verb. Wreath means a ring-shaped arrangement of flowers, leaves, etc. A wreath can be used for decoration or for laying on a grave. The word may even be used in other contexts to denote something that is twisted, intertwined, or curled, such as a curl or a ring of smoke or cloud. Wreath, the verb, means to twist or entwine into a wreath or to decorate with a wreath. For instance, in extreme winters, one may observe a wreath of smoke from one's mouth, wreathing into night air. Another sentence exemplifying both words would be, during holidays, the kids love to wreath the Xmas tree with wreaths, garland strands, ribbons, and all sorts of ornaments. Here, we take a short break from our discussion of words to review what we have learned this far. We have covered all words which were there in the quiz at the beginning of this lesson. So please take a few seconds to attempt them now. I will shortly show you the answers. And the answers are, first, this evidence of their activities belies their claim of being innocent. Second, when all engines failed, the captains sent up distress flares, hoping to attract the attention of the Coast Guard or another ship. Third, the jury was stuck. The defendant's actions existed somewhere in the grey area between right and wrong, an amoral space. Fourth, everyone was embarrassed by Ria's childish outburst at the end of the council meeting. Fifth, his principal ambition now is to become the CEO of the company. For any doubts or queries, please feel free to discuss in the comments section of this video page. Now, back to basics. Even a punctuation mark such as an apostrophe can make a hell lot of difference in the meanings of words. And in this section of the video lesson, we would explore some such cases and identify the pattern. The first of these pairs, and in fact triplets, is there versus they are. I see even those who have good English speaking skills confusing between these in written communications so often. So let's quickly discuss the difference. The first word there is used to indicate a place or direction. There means at that place, and it is easy to remember because if you remove the T in there, you get here, which is another word indicating place or direction. I hope that helps. Examples are, there he is, meaning he is at that place. It snows up there in the mountains. There indicates a direction. Moving on to the second word, there is the possessive form of the pronoun they. This word implies ownership over something and is almost always followed by a noun. For instance, their bungalow is very beautiful. Whose bungalow? There. Their office is located in that complex over there. We have both words in this sentence. In the first case, an ownership over office is implied, so we used THEIR. In the second case, we are pointing out towards the direction of the office complex, so we used THERE. Now quickly, the third word is they apostrophe RE. This is an easy one because it is just a contraction standing for they are. It is the only one with an apostrophe. In any sentence, if you require they are, you can safely substitute the contracted version they apostrophe RE. So for example, they are building a new house. Their car met with an accident yesterday, but they are all safe. Now one sentence which has all three words. Legoland theme park is a favorite of the Simpsons. They are taking their kids there this weekend. You can attempt a short quiz at this juncture to confirm your understanding. I'll give you the answers after 5 seconds. And the answers are another very commonly confused pair in grammar is its with or without an apostrophe. So let us understand when to use it apostrophe s and when to use its, the other one. The distinction is actually quite easy to remember. Its with an apostrophe is contraction for it is or it has. So whenever we can substitute the word with it is or it has in a sentence, we must use it apostrophe s. For example, it's 2 o'clock. It's lunchtime. Try and substitute. It is 2 o'clock. It is lunchtime. Correct. So we use it apostrophe s. It's been ages since I saw Maria. Read, it has been ages since I saw Maria. So we use it apostrophe s here as well. It's been hot lately, but it's raining now, so there is some relief. Try and substitute. It has been hot lately, but it is raining now, so there is some relief. So we use it apostrophe s at both places. Now come to the other word, its without an apostrophe. This version is actually the possessive form of the pronoun it, and it shows belonging. Remember, the personal pronoun it is used for lifeless things, animals, and babies. So for example, the dog was wagging its tail. Whose tail are we talking about? A dog's tail. So we use its, the possessive form of it. The giraffe lifted its head to eat the leaves. Whose head? A giraffe's head. So we use its, the possessive form of it. Don't use this table. Its leg is broken. Since table is a lifeless thing, we use the pronoun it to refer to such a thing, and its leg is the same as saying the leg of this table. Needless to say, we can't substitute it is or it has in any of these sentences, or else they will sound weird. That's the clue for you. Try reading the last one in this manner. Don't use this table. It is leg is broken. Absurd, isn't it? So we can't use it apostrophe s here. One sentence which requires both version of its is, it's a well-known fact that the earth rotates on its axis. Try filling the correct spelling in both blanks. And the answers are, it is a well-known fact that the earth rotates on its axis. Another short quiz on its versus it apostrophe s. Please pause the video to attempt them at your own pace. We'll give answers after 5 seconds. And the answers are Now we move on to our last two pairs. So, based on the same pattern related to the use of apostrophes, we have you are versus your. You apostrophe re is a contraction for you are. In any sentence, if you can logically read you are, then this spelling is required. For example, you are a good friend of mine. You are coming to the party too, aren't you? You are going to make it big one day, etc. On the other hand, the word your is the possessive form of you and shows belonging. After this word, we expect a noun or a noun phrase. For instance, is green your favorite color? Your food is in your lunch box. What was your score on your GRE test? Now one sentence which uses both words. Dash next in line, so it's Dash turn to collect your pizza. In the first blank, we can read you are. So we need you apostrophe re. In the second blank, we need to answer the question whose turn. So we need to fill your in the second blank. Well, there is a third word too, which is often confused with the words in this pair. Yore, Y-O-R-E, meaning of a time long ago. An example phrase is a great empire in the days of yore. I guess just being aware of this fact will help us avoid the confusion. And finally, the pair who apostrophe s versus whose, which is very similar to it apostrophe s versus its. While who apostrophe s is a contraction for who is or who has. For instance, who is the one in green shirt? Who apostrophe s, that is who has been to the museum. Who apostrophe s, that is who is winning the race. The other whose is the possessive form of who and shows belonging in questions or in relative clauses. For understanding the proper use of the word who, I recommend that you watch our grammar lessons on pronoun basics. The word whose is almost followed by a noun. Example sentences for the use of whose are: whose book is that? Whose coat is hanging there in the closet? It's an idea whose turn has come. One sentence that exemplifies both words is dash not at school today and dash homework is pending. In the first blank, we read who is not at school. So the correct word is who apostrophe s. In the second blank, we need the possessive form of who, so we fill whose. So that brings us to the end of this lesson. If you liked it, don't forget to press the like button and subscribe our channel. There's a lot of other stuff related to English vocabulary on our channel, which I'm sure will keep you interested. And thank you for your interest.